Tested.
Hey guys, welcome to another Tested live show. I'm Will from Tested.
I'm Norm from Tested.
So we're a little bit late starting here. We are running basically as fast as we can with a brand new developer release of Windows 8.
Windows, what? 8?
8. So I was down in Anaheim for Microsoft's Build Developer Conference the last few days. Basically, we had a full-day press preview on Monday where they showed us a bunch of the stuff that we're getting ready to show you about Windows 8. And Windows 8 is a massive, massive departure for Microsoft from previous versions of Windows. I don't know if we can... Let's just jump right into it right here. Basically...
This is the developer preview.
Yeah,
it's available right now. You can download it. Not recommend that you install it on a PC that you rely on.
No, it works on VirtualBox pretty well is what I'm hearing, though. And VirtualBox is a free piece of software. This is... Welcome to your start menu.
Wow. Start menu.
Menu.
So, not
screen.
Your desktop. They call it the start screen,
yeah.
but it's actually replacing the start menu.
So one of the things that I got to spend some time with this down in Anaheim, I used a touch-based platform, basically a Samsung Series 7 Slate PC. This is running on a normal desktop PC, my old desktop PC, with a mouse and keyboard attached, and you can see the live tiles are here. So this is the big change. Instead of having a traditional menu with like the 5 most recently used apps or whatever, most frequently used apps.
When you turn on the computer after you get through your login screen,
I'm going to sign out so you can see actually.
Yeah, let's go check out the login screen. I like
Log off.
Login.
Green. You notice the green. This is the first green Windows.
Freaking me out. I wonder if you can change the colors.
I'm sure I'm sure.
Just
eventually.
like on Windows Phone 7, we can change the theme of your tiles.
So before we start, this is a developer release. I'm going to log off anyway. Yes. This is a developer release. You should not download this and put this on your computer. It is way, way, way too early.
Unless you have an extra computer that you don't need.
Yeah, if you're okay with losing a computer, then yes, you should try this. It crashes a lot. It is a pre-beta piece of software. Some of the stuff probably won't even be the same in the final release.
Yep.
They'll feature lock it before it goes beta later this year or early next would be my guess.
With Windows 7, Microsoft released a beta, and that was okay
for everyone.
Yeah,
you could run the beta, and it was a real computer. So this is the lock screen that we're seeing right now. You can customize this.
So you can drag it. That's basically for touch. If this is a touch screen, you would be able to swipe that up.
It seems like it's also for not touch. I'm going to log into my Windows Live ID, which now everybody on the internet will know. Not the password, hopefully. And this is the first thing you see. So these tiles are all live. They update automatically. Right now, for example, the weather tile.
Now these are Metro-style apps.
They call them Metro-style. I think that's a name that will probably change. I think they'll probably have an actual brand for that. But you can see, well,
very fashionable.
You can't actually use the arrows on this. Some of these apps work different ways. The background updates as you go to different parts of the screen. They live update and well, okay.
Okay.
We're gonna
Thanks a lot. Hey, look, it's a desktop.
Yeah. Hey, big surprise here. But when you press the start button, it goes back to this thing. Because the start menu is gone. This start screen is the start menu.
And the start button on your keyboard, that's what it'll do right now. Switch between your desktop and the start screen.
And start screen, yeah. You can...
Weird.
It is a brave new world for Windows. Now, this is designed to be a touch-friendly environment. But, as we're finding out now, it works reasonably well with the keyboard and mouse. Some of the things that are different, in order to adjust these with a touch, you swipe down from the top. I don't know how to do that with the keyboard and mouse. I assume that there's some sort of control click or something like that. We literally just got this installed and working about 10 minutes ago. So I haven't had any time to use it. You can drag stuff around. You can organize groups. With touch, you can zoom far out. You couldn't actually do that on the build that I had on the developer tablet. They handed out to all of the developers who were at build. So I'm assuming you can't do that here.
Seeing more of the tiles.
Yeah, it's a thing called semantic zoom. I didn't actually have a screenshot of it. I don't think they included it in the press kit. But basically what it does is it makes all the tiles really small, and they shrink down to be more icon-y rather than the live updating tiles.
But it works the other way around, too. You can zoom in and make the tiles bigger.
I don't know that you can do that. You can make the tiles bigger, but I don't think you can do that. So this is another example of the things that change. Here's the dynamic page. I'm going to see if I can Alt-Tab and get weather. No, I don't. So this is one of the interesting things I don't know how to do. A lot of the stuff that's touch. On a touch device, you can actually swipe from the right side of the screen over, and it will bring up the most recently used app on your finger, and you can drop it down and make a 2/3 bar. I'm assuming you can do that with some sort of keyboard shortcut here, but I'm not seeing what it is. Oh wait, there it is. You just drag from the edge of the screen. And this is how you see multiple Metro apps at once. So this is, with a full screen only Metro UI, which is what we're looking at here, the ability to multitask is going to be somewhat curtailed.
Ooh, yeah, like your desktop. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And so the desktop's actually being treated just like another app.
In a way, yes. It doesn't actually. It's not. The desktop isn't actually a Metro app, though. It's just being handled the same way as all the other apps are. And then once you have your desktop up, you can do all the stuff you normally would. Like you can run Internet Explorer in a window.
That's exactly what I would normally do.
Run it in a window.
Internet Explorer 10.
Yeah, I don't know if the one on the desktop actually is Internet Explorer 10. I didn't have a mouse down there, so I couldn't get to this menu. And it doesn't seem to be working here either. So anyway, let's go back to the start screen. Explore a little bit more. With the mouse, you can use your mouse wheel to scroll back and forth. That works. It's kind of hit or miss in the different apps that I've tried.
So you look at that second group of apps. Those are more traditional Windows utilities.
Yeah, so if you click these, I'm just going to open a command prompt because I don't want to just take 5 minutes to launch.
It will go back to desktop.
Exactly. And if you install Chrome or something like that, it'll make a shortcut on your start screen, as well as you can just type something. So say I want to see Task Manager. You just at the start screen you just type task.
Yeah, you don't even need. There's no search bar to start typing.
No, so that means that for all intents and purposes, the hotkey is going to be the same. Hit mash Windows key, type what you want, it launches. If
I couldn't launch more specific utilities though. Like I couldn't get to Device Manager from typing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I guess not. Okay. Anyway, so this is the Task Manager. This is new. It's the first time that they've updated this since the Task Manager made its appearance in Windows NT. And as you can see, the tabs are dramatically different. So this Process tab is kind of like the old the Everything tab, the one that you use. The one I can't remember what they actually call it in Windows 7, but is it called Processes?
No, there is a Process tab though.
Yeah. So you can see the actual memory used as a percentage rather than these bars show a percentage of what's used rather than just a time or a megabytes number.
Sure.
The more interesting thing is over here.
Well, also there are apps that become suspended, and that's new also.
Yeah,
so Metro-style apps won't use any CPU cycles
when they're not in the foreground,
but they will still be in cache in memory.
They essentially hibernate on a per app basis. And when we run more apps, then there will be a lot more here. The other thing that I really quite like is this guy. The Performance tab has been updated, so you can see all sorts of cool graphs about things that you're doing and stuff like it's just more information.
Yeah, I like
presented better. The last thing is to manage your apps. When you're on not so much important when you're on a desktop, but when you're on a tablet or a laptop. You kind of want to know which of these little applets are eating your battery because they will actually run while the machine's suspended. So this shows you the total amount of CPU time that each applet has taken, each Metro-style app, as well as the data usage and stuff like that. And it will even let you see if you're on a machine with a 3G connection, which this isn't. It even lets you see how much they're using on metered data, so it differentiates between metered data and Wi-Fi, which is essentially unmetered. For all intents and purposes.
Very cool. Tell me about charms. What are charms?
Charms. Well, I didn't know you felt that way about me, Norm.
I'm charmed.
So on a touch device, you swipe from the left side of the screen. Can't do that here, it seems. And these charms, this charm bar pops down the right side. If you look at one of the Windows 8 stories that I've written over the last few days, you can actually see an example of that. But all of the same charms are here. What these do is give you content. They give you access on a touch device to functionality that you may not be able to use, either because it's a drag and drop functionality in typical Windows or all sorts of other things.
Kind of like right clicking.
Exactly. So I'm going to go into this Twitter app, which is one of the demo apps that they built.
Tweet at Rama.
I think
tweet Rama.
It's a clever play on words.
Twitter username Rama is going to be very popular today.
So it's difficult to show some of this stuff because the apps that you would use it most frequently in, like pictures, aren't available. I'm going to click share here and see what happens. Looks like nothing. Oh, I can share a screenshot of Tweet at Rama. So let's share a screenshot. I'm going to share that. Okay, we'll share that with Facebook. This is going to go poorly.
Wow.
And
social on social.
What this does is actually launches this thing's called contracts. And what the contracts do is they provide an API that lets different applications say, okay, I know how to share photos, right? So then when you get into a situation where you want to share photos, you can say, oh, which app do you want to share photos with? Do you want to do it with Facebook? Do you want to do it with Twitter? Do you want to do it with Flickr? What? And then that actually lets the app spawn its own little interface specifically for sharing photos. So instead of having some weird, it doesn't work with anything but kind of works with everything menu, you actually see the photo sharing app that you want to see.
So
there.
different applications can talk to each other using the API.
Exactly. Screen.
Socialite is the application that Microsoft has included for Facebook.
It's their kind of demo of a Facebook Connect of tweet at Rama. I don't like this keyboard at all. I'm going to share in Facebook. It looks like it didn't even take the screenshot. Who knows if that worked? I don't know. It's all pre-beta.
Someone check Will's Facebook.
So while we're here, this is Tweetorama.
Go send a tweet.
I'm going to say, hey, I'm not in the right area. Hey, I sent this tweet from Windows 8 developer preview.
How exciting.
HTTP tested.com/live. Tweet. I sent the tweet and it's there. It's okay.
Now,
there it is.
There you go. So you have this running on basically a desktop. It's like
This is a Core 2 quad,
an
old Core 2 quad, yeah.
Any computer running Windows 7 today
system
will
requirements
be able
are the same.
Run Windows 8, except for there's some specific resolution requirements.
Yeah. So one of the things that happens with smaller monitors, we're running this at I think 1920 by 7. Well, you're shrinking down to 720p, but we're running this at a big enough resolution that you can actually do the split screen. But if you're running below, I think it's 1366 by 768, then you can't do this share.
You can't do the split.
You can't do the split.
Yeah, ideally it's made for 16 by 9 aspect ratio displays.
Right. The other thing that's interesting, it's always a 1/3, 2/3 split. So I assume that these apps and the APIs, I didn't talk to anybody who actually I could have asked this. But I assume that the apps have a special view for the 1/3 split and the full screen.
That's coded in.
Just built in, yeah.
Visual Studio.
And then it looks like these just kind of shrink down kind of automatically.
How do you feel about that scroll bar? I mean, it's obviously made for touch, that scroll bar. It's weird because you can't just hit left or right.
I think that's probably a shortcoming. I think that's a beta thing. If you look at the way it works on the home screen, you can actually use keyboard shortcuts. I think you can even do control. Yeah, you can do control to skip between groups. So I'd say that they're probably just not using the new APIs properly to get the keyboard and mouse stuff in.
Now, a bunch of these Metro style apps are also some that Microsoft's interns developed.
I think almost all of these guys over here, this kind of middle group. And supposedly we should be able to apply names to these, but I can't figure out how to do that with the keyboard. Wait, hold on, I just got it. Go back.
Reverse. Dehance.
Oh my God. I'm pressing the button too much. Okay, so let's go over here to this group. When I hit the menu item, well, no, that's going to uninstall. I don't want to do that. Oh, God, I launched the piano. Go away, stocks. We don't care about you. You're bad news. So a lot of these are multi-touch demos. Obviously, you're probably not going to play a piano, but we can do a little bit of casual copyright infringement here by playing, well, let's see. Let's play The Entertainer, a.k.a. the theme from The Sting. But not that much of it. Stop before they come get us.
What changed about the actual desktop? Because I feel like most people I know, or at least on a laptop and desktop.
You're saying you'd like to know
I'd like to
how this works in a desktop. Okay, so
the real desktop.
We're going to launch an app. What app would you like me to launch?
What do you have installed?
Notepad.
Okay, there you go. Launch Notepad.
So you type Notepad, you launch it. One of the first thing you'll notice, there's no start menu anymore. I click this literally straight back to the thing.
How do you power off your computer? I usually hit Start, Up, Enter, and that powers it off.
You just put this thing to sleep, man? You don't have to turn. I think to turn off your computer, you click on your face. Oh, and look, this is actually another interesting feature that we haven't talked about yet. I didn't put this tile, my user profile picture, on this computer. I did associate it with my Windows Live ID, but it just pulled this down from SkyDrive or whatever service they're using to sync the Windows Live services. And this is a picture I took in the hotel room at Anaheim 2 days ago.
Very beardy. Speaking of which, now you're in a new control panel.
Oh yeah, it's good. Interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah, so this is the Metro style control panel. It's all touch sensitive, works with the mouse and keyboard. One of the things that they were really explicit about is that all of this stuff, even if it doesn't work right now that great with mouse and keyboard, it is going to be as good an experience with mouse and keyboard as it is with touch.
So, like items like notifications and wireless, these are things that you normally find on a tablet or mobile operating system.
Yeah, so they didn't actually say this, but it seems like the stuff that's in the Metro-style control panel are the things that you use all the time.
Yeah.
So, for example, changing your wireless network. If you go someplace, you're going to use that a lot.
Your privacy settings.
Exactly. And then it gets down here into like crazy stuff like
now, if you look on the
search.
right, if you go in general and look at one new feature, which we're not going to be able to demo today, is the ability to restore your PC. Because typically we recommend that people, install a fresh, clean
Yeah.
Windows every couple months, get rid of all the junk.
So
and now
there's two options.
Yes.
The nuclear option is reset your PC, which basically wipes everything, dumps it all to pristine, brand new condition.
Basic formats.
The super fantastic feature that's part of this
Yeah.
is that you can run right now it's a command line app, but you can say, after you've gotten your machine all set up, you've got your developer environment, you've got your browser set up the way you want it, you can say, hey, make this the new default state.
Yeah,
and it'll make a brand new image of that.
So you probably want to do that as soon as you install a couple configure your settings
Exactly.
after you install for the first time.
So then after you've done that, when you reset, it's going to take you back to that default state. The other one is refresh, which actually nukes the OS, but it copies all of your stuff from your profile, nukes the OS, and then puts it all back. Now,
and other personal files are saved.
It
Personal
seems like personal files
and apps and programs that you installed using the store.
Metro-style apps
Yeah.
are saved.
Okay.
When you do that, anything you've installed that's a traditional desktop app goes away.
Oh, so like Photoshop, Office.
Yeah, after I tried that yesterday, after that finishes, what it does is has a little HTML file that says, hey, here are the apps that are not running on your machine right now. So it was Chrome, Flash, all the stuff that I downloaded and installed that works in the traditional environment.
Is there a store in the
There is a
developer
store. It didn't work the other day. I don't think it's going to work today.
Okay.
I think it's not.
Store is the other big thing. They made a
Actually
big
here.
deal about this. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Aw.
So the store is for Metro style apps. They also have views for traditional apps.
32-bit, 64-bit apps, but aren't.
You can't buy them there.
Yeah.
It's just a link to the developer's website.
Right.
So
It's still presented in the same way, though.
it is presented in a somewhat clever way. Let's go back to the desktop because I know people
Yes.
are dying to know about this.
So one of the big things that they blogged about is the change to Explorer.
Yeah, we can look at that for sure.
I want to see how Explorer. There's a ribbon.
That is a ribbon.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Sure takes up a lot of real estate.
So one of the things I found is that the ribbon with the giant amount of real estate was actually surprisingly handy when you're using touch gestures on
Really
this.
big icons for copy paste new folder.
It was pretty much the only place that touch worked really well on the traditional desktop. A lot of the other stuff, even like closing windows and moving things around, was not.
So it's not gesture based right now. It's just
It
you
isn't.
actually if you want to maximize, you have to hit that box.
It turns out that box is pretty much exactly the right size to mash with your finger and not miss. When you got over to these third height things, they were almost impossible to hit. So.
And then also in the top left corner of the Explorer, you can pin shortcuts to things that you normally do, like tasks that you do most frequently. So, example, if you
I don't know what you're talking about.
right there, you can pin things there.
In this menu?
It's a quick access toolbar.
Really?
Yeah, right there.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, yeah, you can totally do that. Neat. I didn't know that.
You can actually,
Do you have tasks that you perform that regularly in Explorer?
Yeah, copy paste.
There's a
folder.
giant ass button that says copy.
You can also get rid
Also,
of
I
the
use
ribbon.
Control and C. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do as soon as
That-
that's what I like.
Yes.
That's the stuff right there.
Yeah, and also they got rid of the status bar on the bottom, so it's actually collapsed, so it's in the bottom left-hand corner.
I usually got rid of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, Explorer is more or less the same. One of the things that is interesting is the Metro apps. Well, nothing that they've released so far actually has options to save. So there's no place to save apps. They stripped out a lot of the Windows Live apps, the photo viewer, the people, the contact manager, the mail client, the address book, the calendar from this developer preview. So that stuff isn't in there. Although we did get to see demos of that running, and it looked very, very Windows Phone 7-y.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
I actually quite like that. Now, the thing that I'm a little concerned about is it's difficult. Apologies for all these network card drivers over here. That is a remnant of an earlier frustration. The thing that's disappointing to me about this is that the integration between Windows Desktop and Metro is a little thin.
It feels like you're switching complete OSs.
It literally, yeah. It feels.
And also, you don't have control over it because you could be in the Metro start screen, launch a program, and suddenly you're back in desktop.
Yeah. Now the transition's really fast. Everything's 3D accelerated, including the Metro start screen. So all these little tiles, the transitions to jump into them are all 3D, which is really nice. It's
Better
fast.
update
It
my
feels
version
good.
of Fraps so I don't get the frame rate icon on everything.
But yeah, it's not. It's a big disconnect between this And
which you can envision working pretty well on a tablet, and you use this on a tablet.
Yeah.
And the desktop, which for most people, that's what I'll be using on my main desktop computer.
kind of what I was expecting and hoping for when we went into this, and you know, like I said, we're still probably a year from launch on this, was that there would be an opportunity for developers to build Metro-style front ends for their traditional desktop apps, so that when you have a slate that you use as your main computer, you plug it into a dock when you're at your desk, you use the mouse and keyboard with it, then when you lift it off, instead of having a completely different set of apps over here, you actually have just touch-friendly front ends for your traditional desktop apps. That might
Or
still
live
come in the
tiles,
future. Yeah, live tiles or
dynamic live
whatever.
tiles, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem to be the case, not to say it's not going to happen, but based on the way the APIs are set up and the way you build Metro-style apps, it seems like it's pretty unlikely. Is there anything else? Should we dig in? What else should we dig into while we're in here? I know people probably have questions. We do have operators standing by.
Let's show Internet Explorer in
Oh,
Metro.
you want to see the full screen?
Yeah, it's full screen Internet Explorer. Looks
Oh.
a lot like Windows Phone 7.
While we're looking at this, the number is 415-508-3975, or just hit us on Skype at Whiskey Media if you want to sound awesome. So this is actually Internet Explorer running in Metro mode. If you look, there's no Chrome, and when we say Chrome in this case, we don't mean
Borders
Google Chrome.
yeah.
We mean the borders and the stuff that you click on and all that. Wow! Thanks, Dave, for digging up a 10-year-old photo of me for this banner. If you want to open up these context menus in a specific app, let me go back actually. I'll just make a new tab. One of the things that is interesting about this, on the tablet, you swipe up from the bottom or top, or of course you can swipe left to get the charms, or swipe right to get the multitasking, which we've shown you before. In this, on the mouse and keyboard, you right-click.
Okay.
So right-click everywhere in Metro, pulls down these app-specific context menus. Like this one lets me generate a new tab and go see the chat, which is almost certainly going to be a bad idea. I'll say hi.
Quickly, get out of there.
Okay. Backing out, closing that. The rest of it is the same. What site do you want to see, Norm?
Let's go to a recipe site. Let's go to a food site. Yeah. Something colorful.
Okay. There's some colors.
All right.
So this works just like it normally does. Your mouse wheel scrolls, although it doesn't seem to be scrolling right
And
now.
did Microsoft actually code this and not using traditional,
This is a Metro app.
so it's
Well, one of the things.
XAML and HTML5. And
So it's a good question. You can use a bunch of different APIs to build Metro apps. So the easiest way to build a Metro app is to take HTML5 and CSS and JavaScript. And that's something that relatively anyone can do. They showed a ton of developer tools. It apparently is very easy. I don't make apps, so I'm not the person to ask about that. But it looked like the kind of thing I could do. And the tools to style these and make them look Metro-y seemed quite good. The other things you can use are C#,
okay.
which is Microsoft's interpreted language. You can use C++ or C, so you can build real apps with this. You don't have to it doesn't have to just be a web app. It can be something that is actually like a hardcore compiled app. The interesting thing is, of course, Windows 8 will be available on ARM and x86. So ARM is the CPU that runs the iPad and Android tablets and all that stuff. Low-powered, inexpensive CPUs. If you want your apps to run across platforms without you having to do anything, they need to be either C# or HTML, CSS / JavaScript.
Yeah, and you run that all with Visual Studio.
You do. The Visual Studio Express is actually pre-installed in this developer, so you can download it, try it out. There's a bunch of other neat stuff you can test on remote settings. So if you want to build on one thing and then send the compiled app to test it over on a remote desktop someplace or a virtual machine or something like that, you can totally do that. We're not going to talk about that right now.
Want to dig deeper into the real control panel, the desktop control
Do you
panel?
want to see? You want to see the desktop control panel? Okay.
Yeah.
While I'm getting that up, Daniel from Florida. How are you doing, Dan? Daniel from Florida.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry, I muffed the transition there. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
What do you think about Windows 8 so far?
I think it's amazing.
Okay. So I guess you're not a Mac user then.
Oh, God, no.
What's your question, sir?
I was wondering if the virtual hard drive and native ISO support was in a developer build.
Yeah, it seems like it is. I think you can actually mount that stuff over here. I'm not sure about the ISO support. I haven't actually tried that yet. But the VHD support they showed in one of the builds that they were demoing, I don't know if it's this specific build, but Like, I know it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's in the developer preview build. My hunch is it is, because the virtual hard drive stuff is really useful for developers, is my understanding.
Yeah, and actually, remote desktop also.
Remote desktop,
built in.
yeah, works like a champ. This is something they've super metroed, so it's kind of neat. You can see, well, I've got to connect something. I don't have a remote desktop machine that I want to connect to right now, so I'm not going to demo that. But it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks for your call, Daniel.
I saw there you
Yeah,
tried
thank
hitting
you.
escape. I mean, it's a new language of operating system.
It's the things that normally work are different here.
Right, like launching control panel, you couldn't just hit start menu and hit control panel.
I think you probably can.
Oh.
It's going to launch
But
the
it's gonna
Metro
launch the
one.
Metro one, exactly.
Yeah. But if you want to go over here, you can go to more settings and see
There you
it
go.
as well. This is just Windows 7. The desktop stuff is very Windows 7-y, all the way down to like the taskbar, which you can pin your apps to just like you can in Windows.
And it did some
Windows
stuff
7.
with the multi-monitor support. So like the taskbar, you can have programs independent on the taskbar for what monitor they're on.
Yeah, that is multi-monitor support. It's funny because with the Metro stuff seems naturally unfriendly to Windows to multiple Windows.
Yeah.
But one of the things they demoed was running the start screen on a small monitor, small secondary monitor, having multiple big monitors attached, and like you said, independent taskbars.
Yep.
So you can have. Well, you could do it both ways. It was totally configurable. I don't think it'll show that since we don't have multiple monitors set up.
And it'll do one wallpaper across. three
Stretches.
monitors. Stretches. Yep.
You can have all of your apps show up on taskbars on all the monitors. You can have only the windows that are on a particular monitor show on the taskbar. All the options that are, it looks like they cribbed from Linux and OS 10 and all the other places that do multi-monitor stuff pretty well to bring this up to par. It's something that you've had to use janky third-party apps for a long time. What else do we want to see, Norm?
I think that's pretty good. I mean, any more questions, Colin?
Yeah, we've got Silver from Wichita on the line.
Oh, hi, Silver.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
What do you think about Windows 8 so far? Excited?
I'm surprised at how much I don't hate it.
It's funny. I heard a lot of that down at Build. Of course, it's a Windows developer conference, so they're going to be probably pretty pro Windows down there. But I'm cautiously optimistic, and like I said, it's a long way out. It's way too early to judge any of this stuff. At this point, it's just a glimpse into the future is the way I'm looking at it. So, what's your question, Silver?
Sure. So I missed the conference. I didn't hear any of the information from it besides that they're bringing out the developer release. Was there any like OEMs or hardware manufacturers talking about possibly bringing their tablets at all, or?
It's a great question. Thanks for your call. Yeah, they're definitely talking about putting this on Slate form factor PCs. The thing that they handed out to all the developers who went to the conference and that I got to use for a couple of days was essentially a Samsung Series 7 Slate PC with this running on it, pre-installed. It worked reasonably well. I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised at the performance. It's a dual-core i5.
I mean, none of the OEMs have actually announced hardware yet, but
It's too early.
there was a blog post actually this morning about the hardware that they're currently testing on.
Yeah.
So like the Asus EP121 Slate PC that we did a quick look on a couple of months ago, they're running Windows 8 on that right now because it has touch. And I mean, we can assume, some of the hardware will be x86 based, some of it will be ARM based. And they did specifically mention NVIDIA, Tegra 3 coming out later this year. So hardware based on that for ARM.
See, now they did this really easily in the demo, and I've never been able to get it to work. And it says, drag your mouse. This is basically Boggle. Oh, God, googly moogly. Okay, we're not going to do that. Oh, Ryan from Wales. How are you doing, sir? Hello, Ryan from Wales. Are you there?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, good.
I was wondering how integrated the virtual keyboard is in the operating system.
It's a good question. The virtual keyboard on a touch device popped right up the moment you needed it.
Right.
Basically, anytime you hit a text field, it would give you a virtual keyboard. It seems to be a kind of hybrid of the Windows Phone 7 virtual keyboard,
Which is a really good one.
which is my favorite, I think, across all the different platforms right now. It wasn't as smart about type ahead, but one of the things that they did say that I completely agree with is that no one likes typing and then taking their hands off of the keyboard to mash a pop-up or that bar across the top of the Android keyboard. So there's actually an insert button down by the space bar that when it detects the word that you're typing, you mash the insert button and it fills it in.
Can we pop up a virtual keyboard even though we have a keyboard attached?
I don't know that we can.
It might be a gesture.
I could detach the keyboard maybe.
Excuse me, you can go into disability settings, and you can enable a virtual keyboard via there.
Oh, that's a good call. Okay, let's do that. Thanks for your call, sir.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Ease of access, high contrast.
Make everything on your screen bigger.
Yeah, that's good. We might have to go into the real disability settings. I'm not going to do that right now unless it's right here. Ease of access. There we go. Norm, what do you think about Windows 8 so far?
I want to find out if there's a way that so it doesn't start up on the start screen when I turn on my computer. Now,
You wanna
fast. I
come
want
out
to
to
go
this
straight to the
desktop.
desktop.
See, this isn't the virtual
yeah,
keyboard.
exactly. This is the old Windows 7 virtual keyboard.
Yeah. So anyway, we have some screenshots of the virtual keyboard in action on the site. Unfortunately,
You can split it so left and right for thumb access. It really seems to be made on
Slates.
holding for slates.
Tablets,
so,
yeah.
So you're supposed to hold it in the landscape position, not the portrait position, like an iPad.
Okay, we've got Daniel from Florida on the line again. Daniel, how you doing? What's your question, sir? Or your second question?
So since the start screen is replacing the start menu, is it possible to go into any of the libraries or folders and right-click them in order to make a shortcut to the desktop or the taskbar?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You can do that for a ton of stuff. You can deep link in Metro apps even. So, for example, this is the news app.
RSS feed.
RSS feed reader. If I want to make a deep link into Tested, I can do that by popping up this menu. I pin it. I'm going to pin it to the start. Next time I go to the start, it's going to be all the way down here at the end, and I can drag it over, put it wherever I want, and that'll take me directly there. Now, you should also, I don't know if it's in this right now because we don't have the Metro file viewer. You should be able to do that with libraries and stuff too. I don't think, this is one of those things I was talking about with the integration between the desktop, the traditional desktop and Metro being kind of poor. I don't think you can do that to an Explorer link. You can deep link to Explorer. Let me just, oh, good grief.
So you'll need to be in Explorer on the desktop in order to make a shortcut to there.
I don't think you can pin something from here into the start
Into
screen.
Metro, yeah.
Into Metro. They did show, we didn't get to see it. It's not in this build actually anymore. They did show a Explorer view that's a Metro Explorer view, but it's not in this build, it seems like.
So there was a file browser, Metro style,
Yeah.
for a start screen. For the
So thanks for your question, Dan.
Oh, well, if I were to delete any shortcuts to Windows Explorer on the desktop, would there be a way to get to it?
I don't understand your question.
So there, you have the little folder icon pinned. If you were to go back to the classic desktop,
Yes.
you have the folder pinned on the taskbar, and then you also have the shortcut as an icon.
Yes.
If you were to delete both of them, would there be a way to get back to it since you don't have access to a traditional start menu?
Yeah, you can just go back to the start menu and type the name of the application.
start screen, yeah.
Okay.
And so
And
you
then it
have
would
Windows
boot you
Explorer
back to
there.
the desktop.
It's just a matter of indexing. I mean, like some of the stuff didn't pop up, I'm sure, when it actually launches. This search apps will be just as functional
Well, for example,
as the search bar and the start menu search bar right now, Windows 7.
I think you can launch this music app. I don't think it's going to actually. Yeah, see, it takes you just to the library, the music library. On the builds that they were demoing that have these apps built in, you can see all of that kind of stuff. I think there's also a pictures. Oh, God damn it. So pictures. Yeah, for a while that blasted up a thing that said, "Hey, pictures isn't in this build," but you can see it later. You know. It'll be added later at some point. One thing to note is they are going to be updating this developer build. That's the first time they've done that. Usually the developer builds that they handed out at previous developer conferences didn't get updated over the life of the product. So thanks for your call, Dan.
Yeah, thanks.
What else you got? Anything else we want to hit before we roll on? We can take a couple more questions if you want.
Yeah, let's take some more questions.
The number is 415 something 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 something. Probably should memorize. There we go. 415-508-3975. What apps did we not show? We can go into some of these built by students apps.
Yeah, a lot of these seem like they're made for touch, though.
Most of them are made for touch. The other thing that's interesting is there is kind of a location services type thing that's very similar to a phone. For example, right now it's saying, "Hey, can near me use your location?" Makes a lot more sense on a tablet or a laptop than it does on a on a desktop. I bet this isn't going to work unless it uses Ethernet based. Oh, here we go. Vinny wants to see Solitaire, Norm.
Minesweeper. It's my favorite.
I don't think Sol.exe is on this machine yet.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's no.
Pinball.
I don't think wasn't Pinball part of the Plus pack.
I thought it was built in.
Let's see what else we have here. Anything exciting? This is the list of all the apps.
Right.
If you start searching, it just pops up. One thing that's interesting: context-aware search. I'm going to go to the Joule for this. Show you guys this. So when you install an app using those contracts, the APIs that I was talking about before, it can add the ability to search within that app. So, for example, I'm going to
want to search your stream or your pick stream.
Well, I don't have picks. I don't think I have anything set up there. That's just let's do. What should I search for? I'll search for Corgi, and I will search for Corgi in Pickstream, which is a Flickr boat viewer. Yes, I understand that it uses the Flickr API and is not endorsed or certified by Flickr. Here we go. We are searching, and there are pictures of lovely, lovely corgis. Look at them. It's a good thing Matt Rory's not here.
Smiling.
It is a good thing Matt Rory's not here.
Well, hello there.
Look at how attentive. I could just do this all day. Okay, kill the Windows 8 stream. It's just Corgi stream from here on out.
Wow.
Vincent from Palm Springs is on the line. Vincent, how you doing, sir? What's your question?
Hey, I'm just wondering if there's a big performance difference between like the Metro version of Internet Explorer and the classic desktop version.
I haven't actually tested that yet, but that is quite the good question. Should we run SunSpider?
Yeah.
My hunch would be that they're using the exact same renderer, so I would assume that it'll be the same. This is going to be a really fantastically boring thing for everybody to watch for the next minute. Because you've asked this question, we're going to make the entire stream suffer. What are you thinking about Windows 8 so far? Are you looking forward to it, or are you trepidatious?
Well, I don't know if I don't like it just because I think it's stupid, or if I'm just afraid of change.
It's good that you can realize that, though. That's the first step, right?
One or the other.
Okay, so 251 milliseconds for the Metro version.
Okay.
Let's go to the desktop.
IE. Let's check which version of IE this is.
It wouldn't do that before. Remember, I can do about. Can I?
I'm not sure that's going to work.
I don't think that works in IE. No. Okay, SunSpider.
I think it's going to be just.
I think it's exactly the same thing because it had the purpled out link. Yeah. And I guess that was 251 seconds, not 200. No,
milliseconds. 25 seconds.
Yeah.
See anything else interesting? How about hardware? So what hardware was it running on? The Samsung Slate 7.
Oh, so it's a Core i5 dual core mobile running 1.6 gigahertz.
And 4 gigs of RAM.
4 gigs of RAM, 64 gig SSD, about a 10.7 inch 16 by 9 screen running at 1366 by 768. 224 milliseconds, about the same. Close enough that I would say that this is the same. Thanks for your question, sir. I think we've lost him. But yeah, so this is pretty much it. The thing that I'm most excited about are actually the contracts. It seems a little bit dopey, but the ability for applications to take ownership of the things that you're sharing into them solves a big problem, and I think it's probably a much more easy to understand solution for normal people than drag and drop, copy and paste, or that kind of stuff. The other stuff that is interesting, devices. This is I wish I had the photo app but I don't. So let's go into this news app. Hopefully it'll work this time. This happened a lot during the demos at Build. Again, pre-release software. Okay, so we'll go do something else instead. Maybe let's go to Socialite and look at, wow, that is.
Oh my God.
That is a lot of Will Smith right there. I'll go to photos. I'll get this picture of Christopher Walken that literally scares the hell out of me. And then I'm going to go down here to the charms and go to devices. So if I had a printer hooked up, I would then be able to print this picture out on the printer if that was the kind of thing I wanted to do. And instead of having a generic Windows print dialog, it'll actually have the printer-specific dialog that the printer manufacturer designs. I don't know about you. I don't think that that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That sounds like a big opportunity to sell me some more overpriced ink at $6,000 a gallon.
The last thing I want to do is
like
install printers, manufacturer software.
Norm, we have Brian from Indianapolis on the line.
Hey.
How you doing, Brian?
Pretty good. I was wondering what you guys thought about web developers, JavaScript developers being able to write full-fledged Windows 8 apps. What that's going to mean for the app ecosystem.
I think it's going to mean that a lot more people can build apps. I was sitting watching these demos on Monday, thinking, maybe it's time for me to learn how to write JavaScript. And I think the barrier to entry is going to be very low. Yesterday, I found out that Visual Studio Express is actually a free piece of software. So you can download that and be building Windows 8 apps relatively easily. It seemed very straightforward.
And also the app submission process to the store seemed relatively easy as well, streamlined, fairly transparent.
I would say transparent more than streamlined. I mean, there's still a bunch of steps that you have to go through to get your app in the store, but it seems like they give you pretty good feedback along the way to let you know where your app is in the process, which is, unlike some of their competitors. The big thing that was interesting to me out of this whole Windows 8 week so far is that it seems like Microsoft is looking not at OS X or Linux or Android as the competition for Windows 8, but looking squarely at iOS, which isn't what I would have expected. So they clearly think that tablets and smaller computing is the way of the future and are betting big on it, as you can see with this crazy start screen. Thanks for your call.
Crazy mean awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Brian. So I guess that'll wrap us up. If you guys have questions, hit us on Twitter or send us an email to the podcast. We will be taking Windows 8 stuff, doing Windows 8 stuff all week. Norm, excited?
Optimistic.
Yeah, it's not at all what I was expecting from Microsoft.
I like to get it on a touchscreen.
Yeah, it's a different experience on a touchscreen. It seems like they spent more time polishing on the touchscreen for now. But I guess that'll do it for us today. For Tested, I'm Will.
I'm Norm.
See you guys next time.